Hey y'all, it's Amanda with Tap Mom and the Bake Brigade. Welcome back to my channel. This is our daily devotionals, and this one is for May 24th. Title of this one is The Hummingbird and the SWAT Officer. Okay, here's our Bible verse. But the Lord said to Samuel, "The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." 1 Samuel 16 verse 7. Now our story. I recently read about a Georgia man named Mark Cardenas who a few years ago found an injured hummingbird near his front porch. Some of the feathers on one of its tiny wings had broken off and it couldn't fly. Cardenas scooped this hummingbird up and took it into his home for the next 8 weeks, the time needed for it to molt its feathers and grow new ones. Feeding it sugar and Pedialyte, Cardenas gave him the hummingbird appropriate name of Buzz, and in those few short weeks, Buzz became a member of the family. By his own admission, Cardenas is not someone you might look at and assume he'd be willing to nurse such a small creature back to health, but the tough, tattooed, and bearded ex-SWAT officer has a tender spot for animals. As Buzz regained his strength and his feathers, he began to take short flights around the yard, eventually coming back to Cardenas when he tired. As winter approached, Buzz was ready to migrate south, and as Cardenas watched him depart, he wondered if he'd ever see his feathered friend again. To his delight and surprise, Buzz returned to Cardenas the following spring and landed in his hand, and he returned for the next 4 years. Skeptics might question how Cardenas could know it was the same bird, but Cardenas dismisses their disbelief. Random hummingbirds don't land in your hand. The story made me think of Paul's reminder to honor one another and to show hospitality and love in Hebrews 13:2. Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Angels unawares, unassuming people we meet who just might be angels, like Buzz. I've experienced the kindness of strangers. They surely seemed heaven sent when they aided or cared for me, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of them were angels, since God sometimes uses the most unlikely people to help. I want to avoid making assumptions about others based on their outward appearance and see their hearts instead. John Woodhams. Surprises are everywhere in life, and they usually come from misjudging people for being less than they appear. Brown Landrum. Well, this was an interesting one. I hope y'all enjoyed it as much as me. Please remember that I love you and so does Jesus, and I will see y'all on the next one. Bye now.